Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Lozzy, and today, because we're still in lockdown, we're going to be talking about music streaming services. Now, like I said, as we're still in lockdown, there's a lot of free time we've all got, or most of us, unless you're a key worker. Clap to you. I wasn't sarcastic, I promise. It came off a little bit sarcastic, but I weren't. You're a hero. And that's across the board. Everyone who's a key worker is equal to each other. It's 2020, okay, except hermes drivers. So like I said, if you're not a key worker, you've got a lot of free time on your hands, okay, unless you've gone back to work. Cheers, Boris. So what have we been doing whilst we've had all this free time? Watching films, exercising close to your home, not going to the beach or parks, having a piss up because we're responsible people. Not seeing your grandparents, of course, you know what I mean, don't want to put them in danger. So we've been watching films, we've been playing a bit of video games, you know, listening to music, and what better way to listen to music nowadays than streaming? Now, like a lot of you, I love my music, so we're going to have some experience with streaming services. Let's just get that out of the way. And I'm not claiming I know more than anyone else, I'm just saying this is my experience. So the services I'm going to be talking about today are the ones that I've used personally. It'll be Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal and Amazon Music. Some of them are good, some of them are alright, and some of them are fucking awful, in my opinion. Right, let's just get out of the way. Spotify is by far the most popular, and it's the one that probably everyone's had at least some experience with. Now, we know there's a massive range of music and podcasts on there. I mean, that is the one I would personally use if I wanted to listen to a podcast. And I think Spotify is generally quite good at recommending new artists, and especially podcasts. Also find that the playlists they come up with and formulate are quite good in terms of mixing your music tastes into several different playlists and offer them to you. I think Spotify on the whole is pretty good at that, and probably one of the better ones. The price is what it is, it's $9.99. The price for Spotify per month is on par with pretty much every other streaming service. Unless you're a student, then you get it for half price, you fucking scumbag. And they have some sort of family package where I think it's $14.99. Don't have a go at me if it's not. I don't represent Spotify. And also, you know, we mustn't take it away from Spotify. They do have a free version if you're a scumbag like me. For a long time I was using the free version, but they gave me 3 months for 99p. Get in. One thing I definitely would mention before you commit yourself to being that penny pincher, to being that scumbag like I was and using the fuck out of that free service, be prepared. Be prepared to be lied to constantly, and also be prepared to want to punch yourself into paralysis. And the reason I say this is because you're going to get a little advert that plays that says if you watch the next advert or listen to the next advert, you'll get 30 minutes, unlimited skips. It's like they're bumping you up to premium 30 minutes. I tell you what, it's never 30 minutes. Never. Just remember that, okay? You're lied to. And when I said you probably want to punch yourself into paralysis, it's probably because of the amount of adverts you're going to get. More specifically, repeats of adverts for Spotify's premium service. I've never ever seen a company promote themselves on their own platform as much as Spotify do. Fucking stupid. All the advertisers you could possibly fucking get to put their adverts on there, but no, you got fucking some shitty jingle where you're saying, don't forget there's Spotify Premium. Who the fuck uses Spotify, whether it's free or not, and doesn't realise there's a fucking premium option? That's what I'm saying. A thing I think goes under the radar a bit with most of the streaming services is their ease of use, their user interface, and their access. So, can you access it offline? Is it easy to use? And is the user interface actually usable? Does it work? And with Spotify, it's probably one of the better ones. It's pretty simple to use. It's pretty intuitive in areas, and it's very clearly marked where things are. Which is the basics really. If you're making an app that you can't navigate, you're probably not going to be making apps for very long. Now the next one's Tidal. Now this one is probably one of the ones that people have definitely heard of by now. It's owned by Jay-Z. Apparently. I don't really know if that makes any difference, but yeah, if you're a Mr. Z fan, I just called him Mr. Z. If you're a Jay-Z fan, then there you go, bit of trivia for you. Now, like all the other streaming services on this list, there's, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of songs, even millions of songs to pick from. So it's going to have a big music library. Let's face it, if you're making a streaming service for music, and you don't have the music, you don't have a streaming service for music. Although this is the one I have the least experience with, like I mentioned the last point about Spotify, the user interface is pretty good, it's simple, it works, and it gets you to where you need to fucking go. So, top marks Jay-Z. Now, one area that it does separate itself from other streaming services is the actual quality of the music streaming. So the tracks that you'll be streaming on Tidal are the audio files that you're actually listening to are better quality. Now, I will caveat this with saying, if you're playing it at a party through like a stereo system, you're probably not going to notice it that much. If you listen to it through headphones, like noise cancelling ones or the in-ear or over-ear personal headphones, then you're probably going to notice it a little bit more then. Now, following on from that, Tidal have a separate tier, which you have to pay more for, obviously, called Hi-Fi Sound, and that's an even more enhanced audio file that you'd listen to, but I think there's only about 200,000 tracks available in that mode at the moment, so that's probably one, if you are interested, that you probably wait for a bit longer. Tidal's regular service is the same as Spotify. I think it's $9.99, £10, whatever, a month. So it's in the ballpark of every other competitor, really. It's probably one of the streaming services that is going to need a bit more time to grow to a bigger audience. But you know, it's doing quite well. It claims to have better quality sound. So if you are interested in tracks being streamed at the highest possible quality, if you're one of those people, then Tidal, I guess, is the one for you. Right, YouTube Music. This one for me is probably one of the most confusing ones, because YouTube Music has been around for a long time. It's been on YouTube, but now it's a separate app for it. Brilliant. First off, we should say it does have a free version, like YouTube. Obviously, I will have to mention that because there are others on the list, like Tidal, the one I just said, that doesn't have a free version. So, props to YouTube for having a free version, I guess. Now, again, interface is good. It's basically YouTube. The searching for stuff is really fucking easy, so that's a plus. And the price is exactly the same as all of its other major competitors, $9.99 or 10 quid. One thing I do find a lot more interesting about YouTube Music is there's a lot more live performances on there, which if you're interested in live performances, that's a really big plus. It's really convenient because you can just use your YouTube account or your Google account that you have already to link in with your YouTube account, and your music and your YouTube become one. Now, although linking your accounts is easy and it makes it more seamless, there's something that I don't quite understand what they've done. So if you go on the YouTube Music app and you, for example, go on Kings of Leon, so I'm going to subscribe on YouTube Music, the app, I'm going to subscribe to Kings of Leon. You then are automatically subscribed on YouTube, the video sharing platform, to Kings of Leon. So then your fucking feed, when you go on YouTube, when you want to watch videos, is then full of fucking music videos of Kings of Leon. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's not a way you can turn that off. There probably is, but I just haven't found it. That makes the whole thing annoying to me, and I don't really want to be part of it. You can just set up another account, I guess, and have the two separate, but the whole point of it was to blend the two together. Another point to raise about YouTube Music is the actual quality of the tracks that are streamed are slightly less quality than you would find on Tidal or Spotify, for example. Now, obviously, I know why YouTube have done that, because it's then easier to stream to your device on a lower speed connection. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is Deezer. Now, Deezer seems to be the one that people have either just have never heard of or always use it. It's one of those polarizing ones, I don't know really why. So, like Spotify and like YouTube Music, it has a free version. Again, if you're like me, you don't want to pay for it initially, use the free version, get to like see how it works, how it feels, how it sounds, and if you like it, that's when they'll entice you to give over your $9.99 or £10 a month, whatever it is. The music catalogue is massive, and there's a lot of good podcasts on there. Not as many as Spotify, but the podcast selection is still pretty good. The user interface is fine, it's okay, it's not as easy to use as others. You get to where you need to go on it. Now, similar to Tidal with their like higher tier for listening to music at a higher quality, Deezer offer the same kind of deal. I don't know if their quality of the streaming is as good or better than Tidal. I don't know how they compare, but I do know it's double the price. So if you want to use that option, that's £20 a month. Again, if you really want to pay that much for it, I don't think you're going to notice the difference unless you listen to exclusively your music through headphones, and good headphones at that. Now, Deezer does have a feature called Flow, which I'm so hit and miss with, I don't really know where I stand with it, to be honest. It claims to learn your music tastes over a certain period of time. When you first load the app in for the first time and make your account, whatever, you go through and you pick all the artists that you like, and then when you click on Flow, which is like a playlist option, it has already made a playlist of music that it thinks you're going to like. And as you go through the playlist and refine it, you say, I don't like this track, I don't like this artist, it will remove that artist and then replace it with other things, which on one hand is good because you don't want the same music always going into that playlist, but some of the options that it has come up with have been questionable. So for example, the other day I was listening to a bit of pop punk. I was getting recommendations like Blink-182, like the Wonder Years. I was like, cool, this is fine. Then inexplicably, out of nowhere, I just get some TLC. Why? I get it if it went to kind of different type of rock, like, I don't know, indie rock, or I went to like even metal. I kind of understand the kind of bridge there, but to go from like fast-paced pop punk to TLC R&B, meh, I'm not too sure on that. Plus, I never claimed to have liked TLC in the app, so I don't really know what's going on there. But like I said, it's hit and miss. It works sometimes and not others, in my experience. Another thing that's very annoying on Deezer is its search system is a little bit broken. Little bit, just a little bit broken. Now, you won't find this when searching for pop acts that are in the charts or anything like that. They're all fucking nailed down, alright? It's the ones on the kind of fringe of things, like the bands that are not massively well known, or the acts that are up and coming. So I like the band Basement, and there's an even smaller band that are called Coast to Coast that I quite like. Now, in Coast to Coast's music library on Deezer, there's a band in there called Coast to Coast that is not Coast to Coast. So they'll obviously mistakenly put that band that is also called Coast to Coast and put their music in with the band that I was originally searching for, which is Coast to Coast. Confusing, I know, and it's obviously a mistake, but it happens quite a lot with bands that aren't quite big. So like I said, Basement, there's a song in there not by Basement, but by a different band called Basement. It's just something I haven't seen on most of the others. I haven't seen it on Tidal, I haven't seen it on Spotify, I haven't seen it on YouTube, and I've been listening to the same sort or same area of music throughout. So I don't really know what the deal is there. Okay, the next one, Apple Music. This is probably one with Tidal that I've not had that long of experience with, to be honest, because I don't really see the need or the point to have Apple Music. For the period of time I did use it, it was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty standard, to be fair. The user interface, easy. Apple is always about ease of access in everything they do. The price, again, is exactly the same as all the others, $9.99 or £10 if you round it up. Now, the music library and podcast library on Apple Music is massive. Much like Spotify, it's probably, in terms of size, the same as Spotify. If you're struggling to find a track or a podcast anywhere else, chances are if you try Spotify or Apple Music, it's going to be on there. Apple Music, much like Spotify, is really good at creating playlists for you to listen to. Once it's learned kind of what music you like, or you tell it what music you like. Probably a good point to raise would be the streaming quality of the music is good. So it puts it in like the top tier bracket. Whatever Apple do is going to be functional. It's very rare that they fuck up in that sort of regard. Yeah, so Apple Music is pretty much like the rest. If you're interested in it and you like the way that Apple do things and you're used to iOS, then I guess that's probably a reason to get Apple Music. Now, the last one we're going to talk about is Amazon Music. Now, let's get the positives in there for Amazon Music. It offers normally really good deals. So on its own, without any discount, it's $9.99 a month, like the rest of them. But they often do deals, so not every single service does this. I know there are a few like Spotify who do deals like I'm on with the 99p for 3 months, etc. whatever. And Deezer does something similar, I think it's 99p for 3 or 4 months, but I can't remember. Those are timed exclusive things. Amazon does like an introductory offer, so they offer you 3 months for free, and then you pay $9.99 in your 4th month. If you're that way inclined, you don't want to pay anything for 3 months, not even 99p, then Amazon is looking like a good one to go for. So they're all going to have, to a certain extent, a large music and podcast library. I've not really looked for podcasts on Amazon Music, so I don't know about the podcasts on that. One thing it doesn't have is a free tier, but if they're offering you as an introductory offer 3 months for free, then I guess that is a free tier. I don't know, but there's a free option for you, at least for 3 months. The playlist, once you let it know what artists you're into and what you like, usually are pretty good. You kind of get what you want with it. If you like pop punk, it's going to give you a good mix of pop punk artists to listen to. It sometimes becomes a bit repetitive, so you might have a few artists in there that have multiple songs, like they'll just draw songs from an artist and put them into that playlist. Now, Amazon Music does claim, like several other of the services, to have an enhanced streaming quality mode. I don't know how much that is. It is extra, of course. Okay, it's business. Okay, Jeff Bezos, if you're looking for a man to give you anything enhanced for free, that is not the man. It's just become a trillionaire. So if you are interested in the music actually being streamed at a higher quality, that option is there for you. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to mention about Amazon Music that are borderline shit. Mr. Bezos, I ain't trying to start a beef, alright? But there's a couple of things that are shit on the app. User interface is the worst out of all of them by a fucking country mile. It's not intuitive at all. It takes too long to get to where you need to go. The search bar works fine, it's just when you go back into the recent searches, sometimes inexplicably they're just not there. I don't know if there's a bug with the app. Probably is. That's my experience with it. Also, for some reason, the app freezes more times than a geriatric does when trying to pay with contactless payment. He's just stuck there with the cards in his hand, just and you're stuck there just looking like an absolute moron, just tapping your phone. Why am I the one who looks like a prick when your app don't fucking work? I don't like looking like a prick when it's not my fault. If it's my fault, then I'll take it on the fucking chin. Amazon on the whole is probably the worst out of the ones I've tried. That may be just my experience. Other people may say that Amazon Music works perfectly fine, and I'm sure it does, but that's just my experience with it. I'm not going to tell you which ones to use over others. I think the best thing to do is try the ones with the free version first, gauge what you like, and then stick with it and use the premium versions. Obviously, Tidal, you kind of have to take the dive because, as far as I'm aware, there's no free version, but that may well change in the future, so there you go. Before you start having a go at me, I know there are other streaming services that are out there, I just haven't used them, so I can't give you my experience on them, or my opinion. Let me know what streaming service and what music you've been listening to in the comments down below. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, there's a button for that, but if you do press that button, you do have to know I will be sending a hit squad to your house, and I'll use Bitcoin. I'll use it. I got some, right? It's untraceable. Dark web. If you haven't already and you do like the content that you've seen here, subscribe and click that notification bell. Just give it a little knock. Just give it a little, do you know what I mean? Just to be lovely, I'd appreciate that. And I hope you're all doing well through this difficult and confusing time with controlling the virus and stopping the virus and saving the NHS and staying at home but not staying at home and going to work unless you can't go to work, unless you want to do an hour's exercise wherever you want. But there we go. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.